Hello and welcome everyone. It's Shanna. I'm so glad you're here today. Now I am so excited. I don't know if you guys are club members or even if you're not, this will be interesting, but Spellbinders, if you had the Cozy Toe Slippers, it was October 24 and it was such a fun set. I did a video, or maybe a couple, I don't know, on my channel with the Cozy Toe Slippers set. And I am showing you this and talking about this today because Spellbinders is bringing out a second set, and it is the Cozy Toes Friends. And in this set, you've got a unicorn, a cow, a shark, a monster, and a frog, and it's super, super fun. So we've got 28 cutting dies that go along with the original Cozy Toe Slippers. And for this one, I think there were 20 dies in it. And so you need some of the pieces parts for this set if you want to create the slippers. Now you certainly can create these images without the slippers if you didn't have the set, but we're going to work with it and create each of these sets of slippers, and we're going to create some cards with it. I think it's going to be super fun. And so we're just going to get started. In addition to that, they also have the Cozy Toe Friends, and there are 9-step stamps that go with it. Good friends are like well-loved slippers, wishing you a day of absolute comfort. Some days just call for slippers. Want to hang out in real life, slippers allowed. I'd leave the house for you. You've been on my mind, consider this a warm hello. I'll bring the cheese and an outfit with drawstrings. That's funny. You're my go-to for comfort, laughs, and late-night chats. And then your birthday deserves the coziest kind of celebration. So great, fun stamp set to go along with it. And then we've got the dies. So let's just get set up. We'll get started, and we'll start working on these dies. Okay, so here we are, and I've got my die cut pieces. Now, I have done a bunch of assembly ahead of time, but I do want to show you how to assemble each and every one of these little critters. And I thought we'd just get started. I did get several of them already assembled, and I've got their matching leg assembled with their slipper, and then we'll add them to it. But to get started, I wanted to just step you through the whole process. So I think we're going to start with a monster, because this is the one that I have left from start to finish undone, and then we'll assemble the body or the heads of the other ones, and we'll add them to their shoe. So let's go ahead and get started with it. So for this piece, you're just going to pop the eyes out, and this piece actually has some interesting eyes, and it's very interesting how they created it. You're going to need this white piece to lay behind the eyes, and it's going to create the whites of the eyes. And so I'm just going to get some glue, and we're going to get it laid down on here and kind of lined up, and then we'll add our other colors to it. So I just die cut out my little fuzzy monster. These are going to be some cute little slippers. And then you're just going to line it up, and there is some etched detail on there that will help you to align it and get it kind of lined up right. So I'm just going to try and push that around there, and then you've got that lined up like that. And then for the, what I've chosen for the eyes is I've got this cardstock here from Spellbinders. And I forget what colors I've used. I have used, just to share, I have used the waterfall for the monster, and then I used the orchid for the eyes, and we're going to have some reoccurring use of these colors because I decided to use some scraps for this stuff. So anyway, that's how I did it. And so next we're going to add like the pink layer to our eye. And so this is how this one comes together. And I guess the eyes of this is probably the most complicated. Otherwise, it's fairly simple to assemble this one. And then I'll grab my next eye. I should get some tweezers so I can actually grab a hold of stuff. And I've got some extra pieces in here because when I was die cutting it out, some things I wasn't exactly sure how they went until I got them situated. So I'm just going to put some more glue down on here, and we'll get the next eye laid down on there. And I think it's going to be super fun. I tried to streamline things because, like I said, it is kind of a lengthy process getting all of the bits and pieces together. So now this particular monster actually has some horns that go behind his head. Before we do that though, let's go ahead and get the blacks of the eyes in there. So I'm just going to turn it over. I've got some circular pieces that I've die cut out in here. Hopefully I have enough of them because I was using as I was assembling other things. And I'm going to make this like the pupil of the eye. Now you can choose any colors that you like, anything that speaks to you. I kind of had a color scheme in mind and I tried to pair things up with that. And so that's why I've chosen what I have chosen. So I'm just going to take this and get this laid down on there. And this is just, the monster's eyes are really add a lot of detail and really what makes him so interesting, I think. So there we go. I've got a little bit of glue. Let me clean that up a little bit with my tweezers and just show you the eyes. Isn't that cute? Very, very cute. Now this monster has horns, and you just basically it's got the etching there where the the hair lays on there. And so I'm just basically going to kind of follow that and get it laid down on there. So let's lay some glue down on there. And we'll get it laid down. And it's super fun. This is a super cute set. I'm trying to decide. I think I want to go to this layer. Yeah, I want to go to right here and get them lined up. And then we've got our little horns on there. Isn't that cute? Super cute little monster. Now for this one, I think we'll go ahead and step through the whole process with the shoes because I've got the shoes for everything else assembled. So I thought we would go ahead and bring in the shoes and we'll go through this layer. Now you can, there are 3 pieces, well actually 4 for the rest of it. You've got the shoe, the back of the shoe, the skin tone, and then you have the, these are basically the pajamas is what you're going to have here. So super cute. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I think I'm kind of zoomed out. We'll just zoom in a little bit. So for this one, I chose to have dark skin tone for my little leg. And this is my little leg piece here. And I did all different skin tones with this particular set. So you can choose to do whatever you want, whatever works best for you. And so that's my little leg that I'm adding to my slipper. And then here is the little back to the slipper. And so what you're going to do with this is you're just going to grab some glue and go around like the edge there. And then just grab your slipper and just line it up to where you've got the back of your slipper on there. And it looks like your leg is right inside of your slipper. Super, super cute. Now there is a dot there that kind of shows you how to line it up. And there is a dot on the bottom of your pajama bottoms. And I'm going to go just to that dot because I want to have a little bit of my skin showing. Now, some of your animals do cover up quite a bit of the skin, so you don't have to worry about that. But some of them don't. And I think it's fun to have the skin showing and then also kind of the back of the slipper peeking. I think that's what gives it the real effect there. Now I'm going to straighten this up a little bit. Of course, your pajama bottoms aren't always hanging correctly on you, just depending on what you're up to or whatever. So now we've got our pajama bottoms and our shoe assembled. I've got some glue on there. I'm going to get that off of there. Just a little errant glue there. There we go. Clean that up. And then you're ready to assemble your Cozy Toe slippers. So what I'm doing with all of mine is I'm just bringing in a piece of foam tape and I'm just positioning it over kind of the center of my slippers, and I'm going to get them laid down on here. Now this is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video because we are assembling all of the little critters. I do have a lot done to help out, but I just wanted to show you how to assemble each and every one of them. I had a viewer recently watch that Cozy Toe Slippers, which is a very old video on my channel because it'd be October of 24, and say they were glad that they saw it because it helped them to know how to assemble. So I think that's why it's important for me to assemble all of these. So there is that particular set of slippers. And of course, I've got both of them ready to go. So we've got our legs. Super, super cute. So I'm going to lay these aside, and then we're going to work on the rest of them. So next we're going to go to, I'm just going to pull them out of my thing on my, I've got them stacked in a stacker here, and I'm just going to pull them out as we go and just assemble them as we go. So next we're going to use our cow. And I've got two different, you use the face for the cow and the unicorn, and I've got two different colors. I use the white on the cow and kind of the off-white on the unicorn. So I want to make sure I grab the right one. And then I think I'll go ahead and just go ahead and add my eyes now. And hopefully I have enough eye pieces for all of these. I think that I do, but so we'll just get them added down. And if not, we'll have to die cut out some more eyes. But I think I've got enough pieces here that I can work with. And so I'm just going to get a little glue on there and get that laid down on there. I die cut out several of the eyes, and I really didn't count them, so I don't know how many I have, but hopefully we'll have enough to get them laid down on there. Whoops. I glued it to my finger instead of the slipper. So there's our eyes. And then when you turn it over, you can just take your tweezers and kind of clean off any of that extra glue that's on there. Just to kind of take care of that. All right, so there's that. Now this particular one has got, you know, his ears, the inside of his ears, and then the outside of his ears. And so this makes it very easy, which I think it's different than the one from last year, the way that they did the ears. So this is a very easy way to get the insides of your ears. You don't have to inlay a little piece. You've actually got two big pieces that you're just going to layer up together, and then that's going to take care of the inside of your ears. So we'll just line those up and pinch those together, and we've got our ears for our cow. And then we'll just line this up, and we can get it laid down on there. So that's super cute. And I'll just line it up and get it positioned on there. It looks like I need to move it a smidgen. There we go. Looks pretty good. Now for the face of the cow, I actually did it, I think this is, let's see, I've used Bellini for it, and I did a different color for the unicorn, so I did that so that I could readily just grab the pieces and get them assembled. Plus I thought it would be fun to have some different looks on. Now before I get carried away, I need to add the little black nostrils behind here, and I almost got ahead of myself, but fortunately I saw that. So I'm just gonna grab, I've got some little pieces here that I've die cut out. Trying to get them to flip over how I want them. There we go. And I'm gonna lay those down on there, and we'll have the little nostrils for our noses. And then just double check, make sure I've got them covered nicely. Need to push that one down a little bit. And then we're just gonna get it laid down on there and follow the die cut, you know, the little die cut markings on there. So that is super cute. Now, one of the things that I saw in some of the videos is you can use, now this is for my unicorn. This is the hair from the unicorn. But if you die cut this out in black, you could put it on here and make your cow have a fun hair. And I have seen some people do it, and it is super fun. So keep that in mind as you're working with it, that you don't have to use all the pieces exactly the way the picture on the packaging shows. You can certainly, you know, kind of mix and match and really have some fun with it. Now I am assembling it according to the package just as a first run so that everyone can see how the things go together and what works. Now you can lay this one way or the other. I chose to lay it this way, and I'm just going to match my other shoe and just kind of get it laid down on there. And I think it's super cute. Now I have some horns, and this could be like a bull, or I don't know. A cow with horns, I guess, would be a bull. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to add them to the back of his head, and then that will finish him off, and then we can get him added to his slipper. I think we have all of our pieces there. So we're just going to bring in another piece of foam tape. And I'm just using these squares, and I'm just using one on all of them, and I think it'll be fine. It's pretty sticky. And so we're just going to use it, get it laid down on there, and we're just going to line it up with our shoe as well. Isn't that cute? So now we've got our pajamas and our cows. So let's move on to our next one. So next, let's have some fun. We're going to do the unicorn, and I've got it. And here's my little shoe that goes with it. And you'll notice I have some colors in here that are a little bit different because I have, you know, when I was die cutting out, I might have cut something out in a color that wasn't really what I wanted. So that can be very much the case. So sometimes as you're working through, you're like, oh, that should have been with this or whatever. So I'm just pulling all of the unicorn pieces in that I'm going to need just so that I have things in order. And it's super fun. So first of all, we need to get the black, the eyes on here. And so far so good. I've got enough, but I think I might need some when I get down to the last one. So we'll just keep going. And we know that we need our little nostrils on here as well. And you could do these in any color you want. I just die cut everything out in black, and it just seemed to work out just fine that way for me. So we'll start with our little nostrils and get them laid down on here. And hopefully you can see all this. I'll try and stay in frame. Sometimes when you're crafting and videoing, you kind of lose sight of the fact that you need to, you know, be in that framed area. So there we go. So I got that. And then I need to get my eyes on here. I've already got my glue laid down. So just trying to get them turned in the direction of how I die cut them out so that we have the smooth line there. Try to get it turned over. Doesn't want to turn. Sometimes your tweezers are good to help you with that. So now we've got our eyes. Let's just turn these over and make sure we've got them lined up correctly. I'm going to grab my tweezers. That looks good. Okay, and then we've got this one. We need to give it a little pinch. Looks like it could use a little bit more glue on there, but we're not going to worry about it because we're going to glue it down on top of the rest of the face. Hopefully. And it'll get pinched inside of there. So there we go. Isn't that cute? I think it's super fun. What makes this unicorn so fun is the hair and all of the decoration on there. Now, this hair, you could make it... Oh, I just went the wrong direction. Look at that. Okay, it'll be okay because we're going to add some stuff to it. With this, you could actually do 3 colors of hair, and I think it's actually designed to do that because the way that this back piece is, I had to layer the 2 colors together rather than apart. And so if you use 3 colors, you would have, you know, 3 different colors on there, and it would be probably a little more fun. But I had headed down this path, and I decided to just stay with it because I liked how it looked. I thought it was cute. So you can use any colors that you want. I would suggest maybe 3 colors with the unicorn hair if you want to keep it with how it was designed. Now for this, the unicorn has got a horn. And I need to figure out where my horn went. I had a little incident a little bit ago where some things kind of flew out of my... And I've got 2 die cuts, so I'm going to have to pause and find that horn, and then we'll come back in and we'll finish assembling it. So I'm not sure where my horn is. My little tray that I had this in, it kind of teetered, and so I think I might have lost it. Hold on. Okay, so I couldn't find it. I had to die cut out another piece while I was at it. I went ahead and got some more of those black pieces so that we would have them. And we're going to get the unicorn's horn put on the unicorn's head. And I think I put it in between these 2 is how I wound up doing it. And so we'll get it laid down on there and positioned. And I think it is super fun. So we'll just get that laid down on there. And then we're going to bring in... Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and get the hair laid down on the unicorn. And I think how this works out is you're going to do one side with one and one side with the other. And that way, you know, kind of when they're side by side, that's how they look. So we've got some pieces here that we're going to plug into this, and I'll show you. It's going to be just like the other one because I die cut them out exactly the same, but they're opposites. So it's going to have a little line on here, and that line is to help you line the head up so that you know how to line it up with the hair. So that piece is there, and then we have another small piece. Make sure I get the right one because I have multiples. That's not it. Here it is right here. And you have, they go in different directions, so you want to get them lined up on there correctly. So basically it's so that, you know, they can be turned one way on one foot and one way on the other foot. And so we're going to get that lined up. Now you can see here, this is where I was referencing if you use 3 colors, then you'd have, you know, 3 different colors instead of 2 colors side by side. So I would recommend that. I think that's more the way that it was designed, but certainly you're at liberty to do it however you want to do it. It is your project. And so I took the liberty myself to do mine just like that. And then we've got the hair hanging on there. I'm going to give it a little press, and then we'll get it laid down on the head of the unicorn. Get everything lined up. Super, super fun. Now the hair piece, I showed it to you when I was doing the cow, is this green piece here is what I used. And then you have a couple of pieces that you can add to it like that. And it's just opposite of how the other one was. And I think it's fun. And so we'll lay that down like that. And then I've got another piece that is going to fit on there, and then we'll have, you know, similar looking hair as to our other one. And we'll get it laid down on there. Super, super cute. I just think it adds a lot of fun to the unicorn with that hair. So we'll just put some glue on here, and we will get it laid down on our face. So fun. Now for these cards, you know, we've got a lot here, so it's gonna take up some space. But I have something planned that I hope will work out. We shall see as we move forward. I've kind of eyeballed it, and I think it's gonna work. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get this one on here and get it assembled. So cute. And we've got our 2 little legs with our 2 little slippers like that. So we're gonna move these out of the way. We've got, I guess we have, what have we got? 2 more to do? Yeah, we have 2 more. So we have the little frog that we haven't done, and it's going to be fairly simple as well. It is actually the most simple of all of them. So you basically are going to pop out those eyes, and it has this real nice piece here that's just going to go behind it, and it's going to be super easy to assemble the frog. So we'll just bring it in, and we're just going to pop that down on there. And we now have our frog's eyes, and they're all positioned nice and neat. Now, we do have the cheeks, and you use that same piece that I used for the black. I assume that was for the eyes. That's what I used it for. And I die cut out some pink cheeks. And so I'm going to bring them in, and we'll get them laid down on here. And we've got some cute little pink cheeks that are on our frog. And that is all there is to the frog. Super, super simple. We're going to flip him over. We're going to bring in another piece of foam, and we'll get it laid down on our slipper. And you can see I've chosen fun pattern paper for their pajamas, and I'm just using some paper, actually from Cat Scrappiness, just a variety of things for that, just so we have some fun paper. So there's our frog. We've got one thing left. Oh, I forgot to put the teeth in on this guy, and it just dawned on me. So we need to slide the teeth up in there. Oops, I'm knocking stuff off. I just realized it, and I'm glad I looked over and saw that. Now these teeth this is slit, and I think I'll be able to get it up in there. So what I'm going to do is, and this is not the order that you want to assemble this, but sometimes, I've said this before, the camera makes you lose your mind. You forget what you're doing. And so we're just going to take these teeth and tuck them up in there. And I tucked them up to about where the dotted line is. There's dotted line detail on there, and that'll finish it off. And it's super cute. Oh my goodness. I see what I've done. I should have put it on behind the eyes. So what we're going to do, when you make mistakes, you can remedy it. It's paper. So I'll cut that off, and then we're going to slide it back up in there. So I'm leaving my errors in because I'm by no means perfect, and I don't think you are either. So there we go. Now I've got my little teeth in there. I just missed that step. So there we go. Super fun. And we got this now. Where was I? Okay, we were getting ready to assemble our shark. We've got our shark, and it goes together pretty quickly as well. I also didn't put my little, I was getting ahead of myself. I didn't put the, when I was showing you the assembly of the shoe, I didn't put the sole on the front of this shoe. So sorry, I'm kind of backtracking here a little bit, but I want to make sure I show you all the bits and pieces of how it goes. So that is the sole of the shoe. I was meaning to show you the complete assembly of the shoe when I did that, and then just simply forgot it. So anyway, but you can see I've got black on some of these, and I've got the what color is that? I forget already what color that is. The waterfall on these other ones. So anyway, so let's get back to our shark. It's a quick, simple one as well. Pop those pieces out of the eyes. I'm gonna flip it over. We're gonna bring in some more of those black die cut pieces that I used, and we'll get the eyes laid down on there. Need my little wax tool. We'll pick those up. Can't remember if I used the bigger ones or the smaller ones for the eyes. I think the bigger ones will fit in there just fine. And we'll just lay them down on there. There we go. Now we've got our shark's eyes. So you can see that. Now I did take just some of the gray cardstock, the light gray cardstock from Spellbinders, to die cut out kind of the, I don't know, the face area of the, I don't know, is that a shark, I guess? And we'll get it laid down on there, and it just layers real nicely with that debossed detail there. And I've got a little bit of die cut hairs on there, so I'm gonna run my tweezers across there and pull it out. Now for the mouth, it has 4 pieces. You've got the top, which goes like this. A minute, we'll get it right here in a minute. This is the top teeth and then the bottom teeth. And you have 2 different pieces of teeth cut out here. You've got the large ones that lay there, and you have the small ones that lay here. And we just need to get some glue on them and get them laid down on there. Now you could use 2 different tones of red if you wanted to make, you know, the inside of the mouth look a little bit different than the tongue. I didn't choose to do that. I went simple and just I was using scraps, and so I really was just using the scrapped Spellbinders red that I had, and I just used it very simply is what I did. And so we've got that, and then we'll go ahead and get some glue on this, and we'll get it laid down. Now I've got these bracelets on, and they're clanging on that glass mat, so I apologize for that. And then we'll just layer these 2 up, and then we will have just kind of a toothy looking shark that you definitely would want to avoid if you saw it in the water. He looks like a happy guy though. So we'll layer this up on there. We've got that, and we are ready to assemble it on our shark's face. So let's put some glue on it real quick. Looks like I need to move my teeth just a little bit. And we're going to get it laid down on here. Super, super fun set. If you guys have the Cozy Toe Slippers, you're going to want to get this because it is just darling. I love it. So have I got all my bits and pieces? I feel like I do. I have an extra shoe and some extra bits. Did I get everybody's pieces, parts? I'm just checking everybody over, making sure they've got everything. And we'll add these on here because I have some extra pieces, and so just looking to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we got everything. Yeah, a little die cut edge there. Pull that off. And we'll get this laid down on there. Super cute. So let's just do a little lineup of what we've got. We've got our shark, our cows, our frogs, our monster, and our unicorn. Super, super fun set. So now we're going to just get to assembling. I think we're going to get 2 cards, maybe 3 out of these. So we'll see what happens. What I have planned is I have planned to bring in some mini slimline, or some slimline cards, and we're going to do some scoring. I need to grab my large scoreboard for this because this is bigger than my score pal. So we'll bring it in. I've basically got 7 by 8.5, and we're going to score at 3.5. So I'll be right back. So I'm going to bring in the big dog for this, and that way I can get the 3.5 scored all the way down, and I won't kind of run off the end of my scoreboard. So we're scoring at 3.5, and I've got some really heavy cardstock here that I'm working with. So I'm going to give it a couple of presses, and then we're going to pull it over. And this is a slimline card. It is 3.5 by 8.5. And I chose this just so we could get, oh, I didn't score that very well. Did I get it? I did. I don't know. Anyway, I chose this for, so that we could get several of our slippers on, just a couple of cards. I'm not sure what is going on with that. Looks like it. Okay. All right, so we're going to go with that. Okay, I felt like I scored at the 3.5 mark, but I had a little bit of a difference on there, so I think maybe the cardstock was a little bit off. I don't know. Anyway, but what we're going to do is we're just going to get this and give it a good score, and we're going to use these mini slimlines for these, or these, I shouldn't say mini, they're not mini, they're slimline size cards. So we're going to use them, and we're just going to bring in, I think we're going to just bring in a patterned, or just a solid color of cardstock, maybe emboss it, and we'll lay it down here, and then we'll get our feet and get them positioned. Okay, so I have all my little cutie patooties over here off to the side, and we're just going to get to assembling our cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some cardstock here, and I've got our slimline panels here, and then I just took and cut a panel down that we're going to lay on here. Now this one I have embossed. I used 3 different embossing folders for my panels that we're going to be using. This particular one here is linen, and it is a linen pattern. I was sure to make sure I lined it up and got it straight on there so that we would have it. And we're going to get to laying this one down. That's what we're going to do. So we'll just bring in some glue and get this panel laid down. Hopefully my glue will be primed and ready to go. These panels are a little bit bowed on me. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was from my plates on my platinum. It shouldn't, because the D plate and the A plate, they don't bend very much. So I'm not sure what caused the bowing, but we're just going to get this laid down on there, and then we're going to start adding our little cuties. Now, these, I'm keeping this fairly simple, and I'm going to basically let our little cozy slippers be the stars of the show. And so we're just going to get this laid down on here. I was thinking for this color, I was going to use these 2. And I meant to cut it off before I laid that panel down, so we'll have to do a little bit of finagling here to get it how I want it. But I think they're super cute. And I was thinking we would have 2 pair on here, and then we would bring in the cinnamon. Some days just call for slippers, and just kind of do it like that and have a couple of them on there. I think they're super cute. So what I'm going to do is just position these on top of each other like I want them, and then we will just snip them off and get them laid down on there. So I think I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here. That's not the glue that's working. We need to grab this one. Just put a little bit of glue on there and kind of position them how I want them. And I kind of want them staggered a little bit to where, you know, they got their legs crossed or whatever, and we've got room. Now I'm just going to eyeball it, and I'm going to bring in my trimmer. I should have done this differently, and I will on the next one. But in the absence of that, I'm just going to bring in my trimmer, and I've kind of got my finger ballparked where I want it. And we're just going to get a good straight line on there, and we'll get them laid down on there. Now you can do, you know, your whole leg if you want to do it or whatever. But for this purpose with the slim lines, I knew that I wasn't going to be doing that. So, all right, if we have those two there, and I think it'd be fun, you know, because you can be cross-legged. And just kind of cross over, which is what we did with the other one. Maybe this one will, maybe these two can just be side by side, and we'll just lay them down on there like that. So I'm going to eyeball because I'm going to do my cutting, and they don't have to be exact, but I'm just going to eyeball where I'm going to cut them off, and we'll just line them up and cut them off. And then we'll get them laid down on there as well. Now on our next one, we will plan a little bit better. Kind of like it like that. I might want to stagger them on there, and then super fun. Okay, so I'm going to get those two positioned together how I want them, and then I'm going to cut it again. And try to get just a straight line across there. Get it on there. There we go. And I think this will work for our purpose. And we're just going to kind of lay it down on there like that. Super, super fun set. Hope you guys are enjoying this video. I was so excited when I found out that Spellbinders was going to have an add-on to this set, because I really enjoyed working with it the first time. And so I was super pumped that they were going to have it, and that I was going to get the opportunity to work with it. So very fun. All right, so I got that one laid down there. I haven't got this one laid down yet. And this one's going to kind of hang off a little bit. Not sure if I want that, so I'm just going to take a little bit more off. And then we'll get them laid down on there. And I think that'll be super cute. Look how fun that is. Very, very fun. So we'll get these glued up and laid down on our embossed panel, and then we'll bring our sentiment in. I did go ahead and stamp and die cut my sentiments in advance so that they would be ready to go. And since this is kind of a longer video already, I thought it would be handy to do that. Now, I don't have the dies with these sentiments, and I assume that maybe they will have some. I don't know for sure, but I used just some dies that I had in my stash for this. And I think it's super cute. I love the monster and the unicorn together. I kind of planned them to go together with the colors. And then we are going to bring in another slimline. And we're going to basically do the same thing. This one, again, is pretty much bowed. But I'm just going to keep it really simple because we've got a lot of pattern with the pajama bottoms. And then we have all of the fun elements of the slippers. So we're keeping it super simple here, and we're just using some Spellbinders cardstock and getting it laid down on here with just a little white frame around it. So not much layering going on here. Now this, I cut a more narrow margin on this one than I did the other one. The other one I had a bigger margin, and this one we're going to be a little bit closer. Now for this particular one, we are going to use the frogs, and I did it again. Oh, well, I should have cut the pants before I laid it down, but I didn't. User error. Anyway, I thought we would put the sharks and the frogs together. And then I thought this want to hang out in real life sentiment would look really cute on there. So we'll just figure out how we want to display it. So let's just see. I kind of like it like that. And then we could kind of do something like that. And then want to hang out in real life. I think that's kind of fun. Bring one down and one up and just kind of fill out more of the space. All right, so I think I'm just going to wing it, and I'm going to get them laid down. And then we'll have to cut them off like we did the other. So I'm going to get those positioned. And you could, you know, honestly, let me just show you a way that you can correct my little error that we've got going on here. I don't have a pencil handy, but basically you could just take and draw a line there. This one's not very good. So you could just take and do that. And that would certainly remedy the situation that I have put myself in, not once, but twice on this video, which is not uncommon for me. So if you're looking for perfection, you might need to do a little bit of surfing, because that's not what I bring. I bring real life crafting to YouTube. Okay, well, nobody's perfect. There we go, super cute. We're gonna get those laid on there. And then I kind of want these to be like that. So they're gonna be, we're just gonna stagger them, and hopefully we can get an angle. Oops, I got the wrong angle. I went the wrong direction. Yeah. We're going to do it like that. And then we're going to do another one, maybe a little bit longer, and kind of put them on there like that. Let's get this one over in the corner, and then that one there. I think those are super fun. And then we can add our little sentiment, kind of like that. Actually, let's bring it down, and we'll do it like that. I think that'll be fun. Bring it down a little bit. All right, we're going to get these laid down on here. You just never know what's going to happen with your final design, especially when you're me. I don't generally make the card in advance. So, you know, I die cut and do some of that in advance, but when I come to make a card on my channel, I've not already made it, and maybe that's something I should do. I know a lot of YouTubers do go ahead and make their card in advance, but I don't. I just quite honestly don't have the time to do that. And so when I sit down, if I'm going to play with something, I'm going to record it, and that's basically what I do. Good, bad, or indifferent, I don't know. And then this one we're going to bring in like that, and we can just tuck it in behind there. And I think we can make it fit. I think that's cute. So I just chose to take white and just die cut my sentiments out of white. I'm just going to pick that up and get it laid down on there. And then we will put a little glue on the back of this so it doesn't go anywhere. Should be okay. And then we're going to take and tuck it in. Try and get my sentiment straight on there. And I think it's super cute with all my errors. Love it. So fun. We need more glue on there. With the embossed panel, we got to get some glue on there to get it to adhere. Probably need to give it a minute to dry. Now for our last one, we're going to do much of the same thing, but we're going to bring in A2, and we're going to use the full, legs on there. and just use it is what we're going to do. And I was kind of thinking of going off to the side here. So this time we're actually going to get it laid down on there. I'm going to think about it ahead of time, not get ahead of myself. And we'll get it laid down on there. And then we'll bring this one in. I think I want to, hang on, try and straighten this up a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to move it over. I'm still just trying to get it exactly where I want it, not sure. And the embossing folder's not allowing it to kind of adhere, so I've got plenty of time to move it around. I think that's cute. I want both of them to show. And I think for this one, let's go ahead and bring in some foam tape and pop it up. And then we'll have both of them kind of showing, and one will be raised and the other one will be lowered. So just add a little extra dimension to it. All right, here we go. Now this is what I intended to do, was to lay it on my panel first and then cut it, and I didn't do that, so we're going to do it with this one, and we're going to have a really cute little, and we've got the white edge around there again. I think it's super fun. We'll just get our panel laid down on here. Get plenty of glue so we can get that 3D embossed panel to stick. Oops. Need to get it lined up better. Try to get a nice margin around there. Come on. Go down a little bit lower. There we go. And then we have Good Friends Are Like Well-Loved Slippers. And I think it's super fun. Now for this one, I've got it layered up. So I'm going to bring in another piece of foam, and we'll just double layer it so it'll lay hopefully flat. Lay it down on there. I got it on the right side. Hallelujah. Okay. And we've got Good Friends Are Like Well-Loved Slippers. Isn't that cute? I think this set is so darling. And I think it turned out great despite all of my videoing errors. But very, very fun. So we have our monster and our unicorn. Some days call for slippers. We've got our linen 3D embossed panel. We have got our dimple embossed panel with our sharks and our frogs. Want to hang out in real life? Slippers allowed. Super fun. And then I brought in the dots and posy 3D embossed panel there for this one. And we've got our little cows. Good Friends Are Like Well-Loved Slippers. And that is true. So I think they're super fun. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye now.